To achieve the best possible sound on the flute, you need to have as natural a posture as possible. This includes the shape of the lips here, the positioning of the head, the position of your neck, of the upper body, also of your legs, and of course the arms, so that you bring the flute to you, and that you do not shape your body in a very strange way or squeeze your body in order to go to the instrument. Since we have a position that is slightly to the left with the head and slightly to the right with the hands, we have to find a well-balanced position. I recommend that you first hold the flute down here by putting your fingers the way you would finger a lower D. So by pressing all of them down on the instrument. Now, you bring your arms up in front of you. Just the arms up. Don't go on the side. Don't go on any side. Many students, as soon as I say bring your flute up in front of you, they go like this. So turn the head to the left and then send the flute to the right. This is no good. Let's start by having a centered position. You bring the flute in front of you and you will have the G sharp key just in front of your eyes in a centered manner. With this finger, with this hand, you bring the flute forward. That's going to bring the head joint on the other side towards your body. And this is how the balance is obtained, by having this point pushing the flute forward, bringing it against your lip here on this side, and this one holding the weight. Now the weight of the flute is not a lot, particularly silver instruments or the first beginner's models are lighter, about half the weight of a golden flute that you have later, and you need to be in a very relaxed position so that the weight is naturally going not on the fingers. If you hold the flute like this, with the wrist up here, and this wrist also here, then you won't be very strong because your fingers will be grabbing the instrument as if you were holding yourself at the branch of a tree. Well, that's not the case. We're holding the flute. It's not the flute keeping us away from the body, from the floor. So you have to think of your feet a little apart so that you have a nice balance for your body, and then lifting the flute in a centered position, the forearms in front of you, look at the head joints, and then bring the flute to you. And in this way, the position should be that the hand here and the wrist are just below the flute, and the weight of the instrument rests naturally on the lower arm, on the left arm, without having to use any tension. And this hand would then be free, because this finger here needs to operate 4 keys, 3 or 4 keys, depending whether you have a C foot or a B foot joint, and needs to be free of any tension as much as possible. Now you turn the head and you look at the head joint naturally, and you will bring from there the head joint to your mouth. And this way you will have a very centered, well-balanced, natural position with no unnecessary strength or tension in the neck or in the upper body or in the shoulders. Again, one more time. Bring your arms by finger lower D on the instrument just in front of you. Look here. In order to have a centered position, you will have the G sharp key just in front of you. You turn your head around and look at the head joint, and you bring gradually, without moving their head, without going like this, without going any forward with the head or changing anything. You just been looking at it from the centered position, and there you go, bringing the flute to you. And this is how you produce the best possible sound on the instrument, because you will be free of any unnecessary tension in your body. Same thing happens here. If you go to the flute with your lower jaw like this, or like this with the upper lip, this is not going to be working either. You need to find a centered position. The angle of the flute to the left or to the right, the way it matches the position on the head here, is essential, of course, because either you're hitting with the airstream the center of the head joint or the sides. And if you hit the sides, the sound is not going to be nice, because it's meant to be producing the biggest amount of sound with the minimum amount of air in the center of the head joint. This is why we have to find a centered position. Now, In order to be able to play large intervals and to be flexible, you need a lot of stability here. If you're tense, if you're using the muscles, and there are about 130 different muscles in the face, there are far too many to control each one of them, but the whole setup should be firm but not tense. It should be flexible, should allow you to absorb all these intervals when you're playing or that was in Carmen Fantasy, or you're playing in Mozart Concerto in D major. You need a lot of stability with your mouth here. If you go, you're going to sound very different on the top notes and on the lower notes, and you will not be able to control really anything. The difference is actually happening inside your body. Pa-ram, pim, pam, pa-ram, pim, pam, pim, pam, and the level of support, where you send the air. Pa-ram, pim, for the lower notes, relax the lower jaw, and with the largest possible resonance to the bottom. Imagine that you would like to get the lower notes to sound even 1 octave lower. Instead of harmonics, upper harmonics, imagine we have lower harmonics, and you want to get the note to resonate 1 octave lower. This is ideal for the low notes, and then for the high notes. So the lower notes would be resonating nearly in your chest, and the high notes would be resonating in your head up there. This is how you can imagine what is happening inside your head or inside your body at that moment. But nothing should be read on the lips. They should be as stable as possible in order to accommodate all these changes of pressure and direction of the air. So a lot of stability, a lot of a firm, relaxed, and certainly not tense embouchure with the lips will help a lot go and travel throughout the intervals and throughout the range of the flute in all kinds of dynamics. And the more tense you will be, the less you will be able to control any of this.